Okay, so this is part 3 of the video, and we left off with acronyms. So there are commercially created materials that make use of acronyms, sentence mnemonics, keywords, and visuals. Yo Sacramento and Yo Millard Fillmore are books that use the keyword strategy. Yo Sacramento teaches the states and capitals via keywords. Yo Millard Fillmore teaches the presidents using the same strategy. Finally, there's a book called Vocabulary Cartoons, which uses the keyword strategy to help students learn vocabulary words and memorize them. Just realized that I do not have my captions on, so let me go ahead and make sure that that is up and running. Perfect. Okay. So let's get back to brain rules. So the third piece discussed in terms of memory is context. Things are remembered best in the context in which they were stored. So now I'm going to tell you another story here. And by the way, not sure if you have noticed, but I am using tons of stories to engage you. This story is actually about Dr. Spencer, the author of one of the books assigned for this class. So, before getting into education, Dr. Spencer was an actress and acted in the soap opera called Another World. So, see, this is Dr. Spencer. This was her as the character, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, she was a cop, but then she had the past, like she was in a hooker, or I don't know, something weird like that. But anyways, she had a lot of fun, and she told me she didn't realize when she got into acting, and especially into soap operas, how much memorization would be involved. She said it was typical for her to memorize 20 to 30 pages of text a day to get ready for the next day's shooting. She would take the script home to memorize it overnight, but she was able to pick up a couple of tricks along the way that helped support her memorization. So in the mornings, the actors would gather, they would do a cold read, they would get into their costumes and makeup, and then come back and engage something camera blocking. Now, with camera blocking, they would go into the set with script at hand and act out the scene. The directors would tell Dr. Spencer something like, "Okay, Sally, when you say this line, 'I'm gonna kill you,' you'll cross over to the fireplace and pound your hands on the mantle." She would take notes on her script about the movements associated with the different lines that she had to memorize. Um, she learned really fast that as soon as she did that whole camera blocking technique, she would know her lines quickly because the context of the room helped her to memorize those lines. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so one great strategy to support our students with working memory challenges is called elaborative rehearsal. Now, elaborative rehearsal allows students to rehearse information by relating new information to information already stored in our long term memory. So, by using elaborative rehearsal or linking, you are able to provide students retrieval cues to facilitate retrieval. One way to enhance the potency of this strategy is to have students relate new material to themselves. As you can imagine, it is easier to remember information that you have related to yourself because such connections provide more retrieval cues and lend more meaning to the new information. Okay, and we kind of went over this already, but color coding for comprehension. Not only does color coding help to support easier digestion of information, but it also supports with comprehension of students. Um, the main or the big idea about teaching any strategy, whether it's color coding or whatnot, is to make sure that we teach students to use these strategies independently, because otherwise they are not going to be as useful as they could be. At the end of the day, they're not going to have, their teacher next to them supporting them with using these strategies. Ultimately, the end goal is that they